All right, let's move on to the awards portion.
All right.
Player of the Year award. I can't imagine it in years past that it's ever been so cut and dried as it is this season. I was talking to Grant Mosier down at the state championship, and he was like, "Well, who else would you pick?"
Yeah, right.
And I was like, "Yeah, I could name a couple of names, but I mean, I imagine I know who your pick is going to be."
It's Bailey Parker, obviously, and I felt like if there was anybody that could maybe make a case, you felt if South Adams could get down to the state championship game, somebody from the Starfires could be in that conversation, but not just for his offensive prowess with Bailey Parker. I mean, threw 50-some touchdowns, right, or accounted for 50-some touchdowns, but was just as good of a defensive back as anybody in the area. Two-way star. Team goes to the state championship game. It's Bailey Parker. Everybody else is in second or back.
Yeah, the second guy I had on my list, I had James Arnold third because he broke literally every passing record at South Adams, and he still has a senior season to go. Most impressively, 43 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. That's not terrible, and he averaged 20.1 yards per completion,
Not too shabby.
which is freakish.
Yeah.
I had Jake Archbold as my number 2 guy, and part of that is what he was able to accomplish. He was a star on both sides of the football. We saw that in a great postseason performance where he had 4 touchdowns. Offensively, he did a lot with them. Defensively, he had 9 interceptions, which is quite impressive. But also the intangibles, the leadership, his willingness to sacrifice, maybe being the star as a quarterback position to doing what is best for the team. I just think you put it all together, and he's in that MVP race, although Bailey Parker is that one notch ahead.
Yeah, I think Brandon Pruitt, you can make
that's
a case.
A good one. Yeah.
Is a guy, another two-way stud that went both ways for West Noble. It was kind of the year of the two-way guys, right? I mean, we had Landon Miller. DeKalb was really good on both sides of the football. Peyton Wall, Leo. Jake Falk, of course, we mentioned. So it was kind of the year of, okay, you looked at really these guys that were playing both ways and excelling. But, you know, everybody else is looking up at Bailey Parker.
Yeah. So that's pretty easy one to do.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This one, I'm interested to see what your take on this is. Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year is kind of difficult, I think. You could go Grant Mosier. You could go Luke Amstutz. But I think I'm going to go with Chad Zolman with Homestead.
Okay.
Because of how close that Homestead has gotten to winning the SAC and not happening. And we feel like, okay, Homestead, just 1 week or 2 weeks, they'd slip up. And finally, Homestead got over that hump in the SAC. Yeah, they haven't been in the SAC very long. They finally get the bell for the first time in school history. They go through an SAC that I think we can all kind of agree wasn't the best in terms of top to bottom. And even the upper echelon teams weren't, quote unquote, elite. But I think Chad Zolman deserves that praise for putting that team together, keeping it together, and beating some big teams on that schedule and winning an SAC title.
I had him on my list. I had number 1. This is going to blow your mind. Michael Mosier from Adams Central.
I mean, that's a great point.
Based on what they lost.
Yeah.
I remember talking to him at Media Day, and he said he was in that, boy, we're just going to be happy to win a game mentality.
Yeah, right?
And I'm like, yeah, your roster, Logan Macklin, all those dudes are gone, and we don't know any of these guys' names on this roster. And not only to be again in a semi-state game, but the turnaround from, I believe it was week 6 against South Adams to that playoff win against South Adams, that was a 40. You got trounced in the regular season.
You got a 40-some point swing.
It was a 40-point swing to beat them 19-7 in the postseason when we all were making our Thanksgiving plans based on South Adams going down and playing on Friday in the state championship game. It just, from what they had and my expectation at the beginning of the season to them playing in a semi-state game, boom, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, we hear so many coaches try to talk up their teams in preseason. We're just looking going, yeah, okay. And then Coach Moser comes out and says, we're lucky to be in the top 3 in the ACAC. 2 most honest coaches in the area, Michael Mosier and Sherwood Haydock. Coach Haydock's going to tell you if they're going to stink. You know, it's great because you're like, well, Woodland? He's like, nah.
We don't have to worry about it.
So, yeah, credit to Michael Mosier, too, because, he was selfless, talking about his team, that they weren't going to be very good. And I think he was truly wondering. And
well, who knew who Dallas Schwaller was
Yeah,
outside of the
right?
people in Monroe? Who knew who Blake Hirely was?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like Ben Voyral had made some plays, and you're like, but I don't know.
I mean,
don't know
Joe
the guys.
Collier, I
They
mean,
lost
Alex
their
Curry.
kicker, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, who knew who any of these people were? And there they are playing in the semi-state game. And actually, they played LCC pretty tough, and they went on to win a state championship.
And the best, I think, state championship of them all was 1A on Friday, kicking it off. And I think you look at Michael Mosier, and he legitimately didn't know how good that team was going to be. He said, look, instead of just stepping out and being out of the way like we did the last 2 years, which is kind of where Coach Mosier is with South Adams, look like he has to delegate, but he's like, basically my primary job is to not screw this up, is instead at Adams Central this year is we have to coach these guys up. So I think a credit to that coaching staff. Great pick with you with Coach Mosier.
Yeah, I had Mosier 1. I had Amstutz number 2. I mean, what can you say about him? And I had 3 as Zolman, Jason Garrett, because I think you move up to 5A. And, man, you're in the semi-state championship game again.
Right?
You lose Joe Tippmann, you lose guys. And they had some injuries. Ellinger was hurt. Devin Tippmann was hurt.
Yeah.
And there they are playing Valparaiso a lot tougher than we thought they would at 10-7. And then I had Monty Mayhorter as well. West Noble was pretty tough this season. And,
they were.
They were a must-watch on Friday night. So that was my coaches. Team of the year, I think it's pretty easy. You know, when you have one main team from Northeast Indiana make the state championship, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, it's got to be East Noble, and we've talked about it earlier. In just 16 years without even winning a sectional, let alone getting to the state championship game, for them to make the run that they did was nothing short of impressive. Going through the NE8, having 2 really tough opponents to start the year in Plymouth and Mishawaka, being able to beat them too.
That was so key, I think.
Yeah, and I think that it helped later in the year. You know, I mean that's why Coach Amstutz schedules those games, is to be ready for the postseason. Paid off this year. East Noble, my team of the year.
Who else do you have in that discussion? Because I put South Adams second.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times, if they played that was a regional championship game 10 times against Adams Central. I don't know how many times South Adams wins, but it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But week in and week out, that was kind of a team to fear, and just the numbers they put up were kind of mind-boggling, although I know in their eyes that they fell short. They were still pretty darn tough.
Yeah.
I had Dwenger in there, too, because, you know, you can put Homestead in there. You can put West Noble in there. But just, again, they're 4 points away, I guess, from winning the 4A state title and then going to the 5A state title game. And there's a big difference between the size in 4A and the size in 5A, in my opinion.
I think we shortchanged Snyder and Dwenger a lot because we just expect it, right? So we talk Coach of the Year, it's like Nick Saban. Nick Saban seems to never win Coach of the Year anymore in college football because we just expect Alabama to be there all the time, and Bill Belichick in the NFL, which is kind of expect it. But going back to South Adams, I think it's a great pick. Look, not taking anything away from Adams Central because they did beat South Adams. I mean, they had a great game plan. But you felt, man, there were so many plays that if they go South Adams' way, even in the first half when they have that touchdown called back, that would have put them up 14-7, was big momentum swing. It seemed like they had 3 or 4 passes that were just out of reach of receivers that they usually complete, long downfield passes for James Arnold. So you felt, man, as much as Adams Central won that game, you felt, man, South Adams didn't get the call for the touchdown. A lot of people thought it was a score, and then, man, just didn't execute where they're usually used to. And I think we're talking about South Adams potentially being a state championship game if they make the plays in that game.
Yeah, I would like their odds against LCC if they were to make it all the way down, but they wouldn't have played it.
Semi-state,
played them in semi-state. That game would have been at South Adams? Maybe?
I don't know.
Because that one was on the road and the LCC was at home. Who knows? It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Adams Central. Credit to Adams Central. Final question. The surprise of the year. This can go both ways.
Yeah.
A positive surprise and a negative surprise. I kind of have one of each. I'm just going to get your thoughts on what your biggest surprises for this season were.
I think my biggest surprise positively was Adams Central.
That's what I had right here.
So sweet. See, we can just skip it. For the reasons you mentioned. Just all that they lost, we felt, okay, they're going to need a rebuilding year to get back to where they were. Now, all of a sudden, we're already like, okay, South Adams is going to slip that much. And Adams Central's right there with another year of experience next year. Ooh, I mean, I felt, did South Adams miss their opportunity this year to knock off Adams Central when they were down? So I think positively you look at Adams Central with the year they have. I think negatively, I think we look at how far Wayne fell.
That's what I had right there. Wayne.
Woo!
What?
Just geniuses or 2 dullards up here. Who knows? But
great minds think alike. I don't know what our excuse is.
But yeah, I think we knew Wayne was going to take a step back, but I don't think any of us thought they'd be 0-10. I mean, and it wasn't a Elmhurst-esque 0-10 where they were just getting murdered every week. I mean, they were competitive, but they just didn't make enough plays, didn't have the talent on the field, and now they're looking for a head coach. So I don't think it could have gone any worse for the Wayne Generals over the last 3-4 months.
Yeah, you looked at it and you're like, okay, they don't have Craig Young, they don't have Darius Alexander, they don't have a big senior class that had played, basically started 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But you thought, okay, Keyshawn Fields is a guy. He's got offers from like 5 MAC schools as a running back.
Right.
He's 6 foot tall, 200 odd pounds. I mean, he's a load.
Yeah.
But everybody just keyed on him, and it's just made it really tough on him. And you come out with 0 wins in a year where there were some wins out there for them.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the SAC top to bottom just wasn't necessarily as tough a gauntlet as it was. You know, depending on when you caught Northside with Deuce or not, or however they were playing, there were some wins to be had there, and they went over after a 9-win season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. Obviously, you go with a new head coach.
It shows you the challenges of the SAC in that it takes a lot of work to get up at the top, and it takes even more work to stay up there and compete. And I think we really look at 2 distinctly different groups. We look at Dwenger and Snyder and Homestead and Carroll as kind of those 4 teams that can kind of perennially stay up there. And we used to throw Lures in there, but now they're kind of struggling. Everybody else is just kind of fighting for position, you know, and maybe a year you jump up, but then you drop back down. I think that's credit to Concordia. Once they jumped up and won that state title that year, they've been able to stay in that mix and make runs in the postseason. But you look at Northside being able to make a run and dropping back down. You look at Wayne being able to jump up and then drop back down. It's very, very difficult to climb that ladder and stay up there.
The thing that struck me with Wayne is it wasn't just that senior class. Like, I felt like Derek Moore had really changed the culture, and you have to change the culture and the mentality of the program to be successful in the SAC year in and year out, because it's high school football, and in high school sports, it's just a roller coaster of talent. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. So culturally, you saw the shift for them, and like that didn't carry over. That didn't equate to wins, and I don't know what happened out there. But now that he's no longer the head coach, like you said, there was some sort of dysfunction out there. And I'm surprised because Derek Moore, from our side of it, is like one of my favorite guys, you know, to talk to chat to. A guy that I think he's got his head on straight. He's doing things the right way. I love to see the success that he had last season. Just blew my mind.
Yeah, it was crazy. It just looked like it
happened on that semi-state Friday, right? When he announced.
Yeah, it was Friday night. We're all like, what? Because he came out and said he made it official, and we were all kind of like scrambling around.
Yeah,
and whoa,
I was
up
at East Noble. You were up at East Noble.
Yeah, it was all kind of shocking for us. So
what?
It was nuts, but you know, like you mentioned, the momentum was there because at south side of town, the talent likes to gravitate toward who is good. So you know, Southside hadn't been good in a while, so everybody was kind of going to Lures. And then, oh, look at Wayne. It's the new spot. So more talent was gravitating there.
Nate Moore's over there.
Yeah, right. Nate Moore previously from Lures over there. So now where does that talent go? Does the coach come in and keep it together? Or does Lures now seem like get an influx of talent again because they desperately need it? Does South kind of grab guys because they need it? So it's kind of, in the SAC, everybody's just lurking, waiting for somebody to fall down because everybody's going to grab. It's like, you know, sharks eating off the carcass of grabbing talent. You know, and not just current players, but kids that are in 7th, 8th grade. Where are they going to go to school, right? You're going to follow the school that's kind of on the up and up, and that was Wayne for a couple of years.
Yep.
Now who is it?
Exactly. That's the big question, which we'll answer next season.
Yes.
But to wrap things up for this season, what is your biggest takeaway from 2019? If there's one storyline or one thing that kind of encompasses 2019 high school football in Northeast Indiana in a nutshell, what is it for you?
I think it's fresh storylines with new teams. We had Homestead win their first ever SAC championship. We had East Noble do what they did. We had South Adams be what it was. We had West Noble go undefeated in the regular season. I think it was a little change of scenery. As much as we love the Dwengers and Lures and Snyders and teams like that, it's nice to have a little bit of new blood, so to speak, to have success. That's what I take out of it. But Dwenger and Snyder, they're not going anywhere.
No, they aren't. They're traditional powers for a reason, man.
Yep.
Speaking of traditional powers, Justin Kinney,
Oh,
joining us all season long here on Inside the Zone. We appreciate it. We appreciate all you guys do.
Absolutely.
At Ops for everybody here in Northeast Indiana. Hopefully we'll have another successful season when 2020
Let's hope so. Be here before we know it.
All right. We'll see you then. But for this season, he's Justin. I'm Glenn. We'll see you next fall.